Friedrich Merz, said that talks between Presidents Putin and Zelensky will obviously not happen. That's following the second largest aerial attack since Moscow's full-scale invasion 3.5 years ago. Ukrainian officials say at least 21 people were killed. Amongst them, 4 children, the youngest just 2 years old. Buildings belonging to the European Union and the British Council were hit.
I'm outraged by the attack on Kyiv, also hitting our EU offices. This was the deadliest drone and missile attack on the capital since July. And as you can see behind me on the screen, it was an attack also on our delegation.
Earlier, the White House was asked about the president's reaction to the aerial assault.
He was not happy about this news, but he was also not surprised. These are 2 countries that have been at war for a very long time.
So what we want to know is, are Ukraine-Russia peace talks in tatters? Joining me now is Jill Doherty, the former CNN Moscow bureau chief. Thanks for joining us, Jill. I guess we could even ask, were they even a thing in the first place?
Well, that is the question, Max, where they stand right now. If you look at this attack, and it really was, major, almost 600 drones and 34 missiles. So it's just pretty overwhelming. And so to say that there is any type of peace process, at least from what we can see, it does appear to be stalled. Now, there could be some type of talks, behind the scenes. And on the American European side with Ukraine, they have been talking about these security guarantees. And that the big question about that is, how do you do it? How do you get observers, which would be military? Who are they? Where are they? What are the rules of engagement, et cetera? So they're trying to work out those details. But if you look at the Russian side, if you look at Vladimir Putin, there is no indication that he is ready to even sit down or to end this type of vicious attack.
He seems to have been ignoring everything that Donald Trump's been saying to him, what the Europeans have been pushing for. And this idea of, meeting with Zelensky, do you think it was even something he vaguely considered?
I think that this is sadly kind of the Russian approach, which is they say, yes, we want to get to peace eventually. But when it gets down to the details, for instance, meeting with Zelensky, they continue to trot out that incorrect statement that Zelensky is not a legitimate leader of Ukraine. And so at many different points, Russia rhetorically will say, yes, we're on board. But when it comes down to actually agreeing to something, or even adhering to some of the things that President Trump has been talking about, they don't do it. So sadly, I am not quite sure where we go from here. Certainly, there are people on the European side who are saying we just have to increase the pressure on Putin. But at this point, that doesn't seem to be working either. Others would say it has to be a military approach. And for that, you need, again, more coordination with the United States.
But there is a lot further the US can go in terms of sanctions, can't they? They could go all the way, and that would put pressure on Russia.
Theoretically, it would. And we know, of course, that the United States has invoked secondary sanctions on India. So the tariffs on India are extremely high right now, roughly 50%. They haven't done anything about Russia, which was something that President Trump was threatening to do. He has not done that. And no tariffs on China in connection with Ukraine. So there are more things that could be done, but they're not being done. So the administration has to make up its mind about what it is going to do next. But there's rhetoric. I mean, you've heard from the White House in that bite that you played just a few minutes ago. The president is not happy. Well, we've heard that many times. But what does that mean? Is there any decision by President Trump to push and act on the things that he himself has talked about?
There'll be an interesting moment next week, won't there, with Xi Jinping, Vladimir Putin, Kim Jong-un, actually a military parade in Beijing, because that's the other axis that a lot of people are seeing here. And as long as Russia is in a good position with China, they can probably keep going without the West's help.
It is, I think, an interesting moment. The Shanghai Cooperation Organization, SCO, has expanded, and China's in it, India's in it, Iran is in it. All of those countries, actually, that have been helping Vladimir Putin prosecute this war. So I'm not quite sure precisely what will come out of it. Some observers who really do know that organization say it could be just more PR, but the PR does, at least the Kremlin hopes, will stress that President Putin is no longer a pariah. He's back on the stage. He's meeting in China with these other members of the SCO. And it's meant to send a message, but also to, I think, recharge the relationship in terms of trade. You know, Russia and China have 240 some $1 billion of trade, but it's been falling since January, about 8%. So they want to bring that back. And obviously, I think they would have to talk about what is next in Ukraine. I'm sure China will be interested in talking about that, because rhetorically, again, so much of it is words, but they've been on board to a certain extent, but they haven't really done everything that Russia might want them to do in regard to Ukraine. So this will be, a significant, but not, I don't think, changing meeting in China.
No. Okay, Jill, really appreciate you joining us. Thank you so much for joining us from Washington, D.C.